It's been forever since I made a movie. Um, for one thing, I was really insecure actually about my horrible teeth situation, so I got a really good dentist to fix what was chipping off. So I was like, "Oh, can I sing?" And it was like been hard to pronounce certain words when you have like teeth falling in and out. Like it's really hard to talk. So anyway, it is what is it? May 9th, 5:33. I survived a food poisoning from freaking eating this gross food. But I'm always eating cheap, expired food. Always. That really tears into your health. And I'm over it. So I'm only going to like a really healthy, natural, fresh store from now on. Anyway, so much for saving money. It wasn't worth being sick. In terms of staying on mission, life is just like a series of make this phone call, pay this bill, leave this message, check this mail, send this letter off, send this qualification off. I think my next thing is eyeglasses, which I've actually found my eyes aren't as bad as I thought. I just actually have to hold things further from my head, which I remember hearing that was an old eyes thing as I'm aging. And then this other thing I'm getting is like more squiggly floaters, which I remember seeing my first floater when I was 7. And what I've been reading is there's some kind of viscous liquid that gets kind of like coagulated and contributes to this weird little cloudy spell type of a thing. So my mom had mentioned it, and I was like, oh, hey, I'm having that too. And I don't know if her mentioning it caused me to notice it and it had been happening, or if it has something to do with the low amount of sunlight in Oregon. And then the sun comes out and it's just suddenly like, whoa. Or the fact that I spent mostly all winter just sort of hunched over knitting where I barely even have to look because I just knit very simple things that my hands can do. So maybe sitting in the dark knitting all the time, not paying attention. But I think my smartphone and electronic use is really catching up with my eyes, destroying my eyes. So if I've not been on screen or blogging or writing letters or copy pasting files, it's because I'm deliberately avoiding screen time as an eye saving routine. And it's hard. I watched a good bit of the Amber Heard trial, especially the last 2 days of testimony. Didn't catch every second, but oh my god, extremely upsetting. I think this trial is sort of wrecking my life. What else? Oh, I've been having different kinds of headaches, almost so severe that I'm like, ugh, do I need to get up back on some special migraine medication? Which I finally relented and did that. And then I had this chalazion, which is this weird little eye nodule right there, and it subsided. Oh, and then there was like a series of folliculitis or impetigo of the scalp, like basically inflamed hair follicles on the scalp. So that got really escalated last August, but it had been an ongoing thing, but very sort of like minimal, and I'd avoid it. And I was actually making the mistake of picking at it, which is making it worse. So I had to do 2 rounds of antibiotics on that. Then I did a third round of antibiotic. I believe around the time the chalazion broke out, I could tell the chalazion was inflamed. I could not get the doctor to admit that I needed an antibiotic for that because they say no, you don't need it for your chalazion. It's basically like kind of almost like a cyst under your eyelid, and it's like big and boily, or not boily. It's like a nodule, and they were like, no, it wouldn't give me antibiotics. So I was like, well, can I get it for my folliculitis? So my folliculitis qualified me for the antibiotic, which sure enough made my chalazion go down. So um, figuring out how to get doctors to work with you is really tricky. Um, my new physician, I like moved away, which made me upset. Um, for a while, I was really into helping all these various people, like constantly helping, taking clothes, taking foods and things. And right now I'm kind of backed off that. I'm kind of tired. Witnessed a massive amount of brawling with like street fighting in March, mainly, I think. March, yeah. March Madness. I don't know. What ended up seeming to happen is that the closure of the shelter precipitated massive levels of street tension. And I had a lot of basically like cleaning up the wreckage after Ken's death. It just was so devastating. It was like a constant state of devastation. There's still a little pickup happening with like just sometimes it gets triggered. And then I was trying to remember back when my dad died, where was I a year out from him dying? And I actually remember my mom kind of flipping out at me, like screaming and hollering, and her Parkinson's was like really kicking in, and it seemed like, oh wow, nobody really believes you have Parkinson's, but it really gets activated when you're emotionally upset, or this pattern seemed to coincide. So that's when I moved out to this county because the cost of living in Portland was horrible. There was like no chance of getting on a waiting list or anything fancy like that. So I thought I should sing for you. I'm thinking of getting rid of this. Should I? Isn't it beautiful? I'm kind of showing it off. Wood is very grounding for me. Oh yeah, I helped my friend move to Ecuador. It was just crazy because she like wants me to like protect her stuff indefinitely or like move it, use it, distribute it. I am so confused because it was all extremely sudden, and she's so sweet. She's like a healer. She's quite old and she has a lot of severe health problems, so I hope she gets through it. And then what else has happened? I try to update Twitter like once a day. Right now I like can't even yeah, the Ukraine war thing. Anyone want to fill me in on what's going on? Okay. Hmm, keeping the head together, like, okay, getting so tired and stressed out that you're like, where's my phone? Lost my phone. Gotta find my phone. Or, like, it's like once you get unsteady by a lot of stress, that's when the accidents slip in. I had a huge shard of glass in my toe starting with 2022. It stayed there for 10 days and then I finally got it out. It kind of, it's so strange to explain. It's like, imagine, let's see, a toe. Like, there's a shard of glass up in it, but there's a slice. The slice was bleeding profusely, so I had to stop that, possibly even needed stitches. But the shard, which I suspected was still there because there was this like tough thing, I couldn't get it out. And so by keeping it bandaged, I allowed the top part to heal. And then what it seems like happened is that the injury sort of got enough pus or healing on the internal part to just push the shard slightly out. Oh my god, I still get like a pain, like I had a forked big toe or something. And walking around on a shard of glass for 10 days was really special, and I'm kind of weak stomached for something that grotesque. So oh yeah, what else happened? Anything interesting? Oh yeah, I had a vacuum cleaner accident, which I really am obsessed with cleaning, but it's almost healed. Where is it? It's on this side. I had this like red welt. That's it, but it's fading. But I was taking the suction hose and like sucking the side panels of like dust, this incredible amount of dust that's always congregating. I think it's worse by the ocean because of the salt in the air. There's this like sticky clinginess of the dust that it gets like clumpy and moisty. So the webbage, it forms like really interesting cobwebs, sea salt dust. But I'm like sucking it. The vacuum. I'm just sitting on my hand, sitting with my legs crossed, and the vacuum cleaner goes clunk because the hose isn't long enough. And it is the cheapest vacuum that I could get, because I was like addicted to Hoovers because they seemed to do the job so well, the wind tunnel. But then I found this one that was just like so much cheaper, and it is really good. It's a B cell. It's very good, but not clunking me in the face. And then people are like, who talked to you? Oh. And then I had numerous little emerging friendships, many of them passing and going. I don't know what to make of many of them. I have like a list of people I'm blocking for annoyance reasons. I think even my best friend is not calling me, which she usually wants to talk for 3 to 4 hours. So it's like, okay, I need time to do stuff. But I found something I'm interested in reading, like a book-wise. I am reading Rumpel. It's this funny, like, I think it's written in the 1990s, but it's a British lawyer. It's kind of a comedic, it's law, comedy, kind of mystery, British quirky. It's like watching one of those ridiculous crime law court dramas on public television. But it's like the book version, and it's very quirky. I just love it. I can read it. And sometimes I wonder why I can't read, but I really have to be interested in something too. And no, I don't want a flash remind me later. So I'm staying off the internet. What? No, I don't want you, Firefox, just popping up like that. So Rumpel by John Mortimer. It's like a saga, like series of novels or short stories or mini novelettes or something. It's just amazing. I found it in a free box. Then I started collecting art magazines. I found a really good source of cheap, free, vintage art magazines to die for. And then went to some meetings pertaining to housing development, made like some interesting friends. Feeling a weight of responsibility to be some kind of advocate on issues, not being treated fully respectfully sometimes. Also, just class warfare is real. Class warfare is real. It's really intense. I had a guy tell me to drop dead at this venue for like discussing housing issues and homelessness issues. I started following a bunch of LA housing advocates, like Ruth Lesser's my favorite one on Twitter, but they link up to a lot of all the top California homelessness advocates. So I was studying the language, like service resistant is one of the ways they slur people for not receiving services properly or promptly or on good terms or having challenges to receiving services, or furthermore disgust at the way the services are doled out. But let's see. I just can't really say that I have any like major super accomplishments of 2022. I connected with an old friend in California, got the big update. Was trying to help my friend who's doing an eviction case with my insights, and we have a clumsy, laughable friendship, and somehow bring some kind of insight through our opposite type of personalities. And so that's charming. And then my long lost brother has decided to be my friend now. So after 20 years of waiting, he's sending me like emoticons of flowers and I'm sending them back. So we're all good. Mom, don't worry. Back at it. We were just such a dynamic duo as like mom's first 2 kids. Anyway, wished mom a happy Mother's Day yesterday. That was great. Trying not to get too sucked into politics, but I'm really addicted to France 24. What's great about France 24 on the smart TV, it just goes on and on forever, is the Frenchness. You frequently hear French. They'll do an English language or a French language version, whichever you want. But frequently it's like France culture. Oh, I love this girl Florence. She's just this very cheerful, bright, clever lady who helps explain French culture. Like when show they did on like, why are the streets so dirty? Like why is Paris a mess? Or they'll do food, or I like the fashion very much. Like they'll do and they do a large emphasis on things to do with Africa. So I had been really into Al Jazeera for a while, fully aware of its, Qatar funding, but falling in love with different announcers. But I love the fact that it's very much like parts of the world that American media won't talk about, perspectives that won't be talked about in American media. And so I've kind of alternated between Sky News, Al Jazeera, France 24. Well, lately I was like really enjoying some Deutsche Welle. This documentary about a Mexican journalist who was constantly facing death threats, or people she knows were being put in jail or killed. She was saying something about the role of journalists providing justice when there is an absence of an adequate justice system. And that amount of justice that seeing the truth printed provided might be the only justice these victims of crimes or families might have. And I was like, yes, that's it. That is it. Oh, I was so, she was amazing. Okay. And daily, I was trying to take care of a friend with a head injury. He had a really bad head injury at the turn of the year. A lot of housekeeping, and still kind of getting situated with how to keep everything. Trying to get as much fresh air as possible. The knitting has been so flexible because I will knit in a park, or knit on a bus, or knit hanging out. I was hanging out a lot with the homeless day center, but when everything started getting like too violent, I can't afford a head injury right now or whatever. And even like all the harshness of the curse words and the hard living culture, it'll be there when I'm ready again, like, so yeah, staying on top of things, daily life things. I get chats from Keith like almost every day, sending me things to look up, so I still keep up a bit with Portland politics, but not much. And keep up with local politics. For a while, I was like into trying to feed information, but to different reporters and stuff, but they'll have to figure it out on their own. They seem to have their preconceived biases anyway. Oh yeah, and then just trying to keep things above board sometimes, and then finding out these humbling circumstances of no one being perfect, and my own inadequacies looking me in the face, and then just feeling like, wow, we really do need each other. We need to check each other, like check on each other. How's it going? How's it doing? And I think right now I'm so used to being this caregiver and doing so much for other people. I really have to pull back and just make sure I'm okay, make sure I'm getting everything done and not losing things. Or when I was a kid, I was so head in the cloud reading books all the time that I just was always losing everything, like my dad, like absent-minded. And we didn't think of it as a clinical problem, but it really takes a lot to hold yourself together. And especially if you're helping, I think that's actually why I have sympathy for people who have difficulties in that regard, is I have myself. And I guess that's my update. I wanted to sing, but then I was like, I don't really have a song to sing. I sang a little karaoke. I sang Cranberries. I sang some I sang The Lady is a Tramp, the Sinatra version. I was just reading about Marilyn Monroe last night for like no reason, just suggestive. And then let's see. Oh, I sang what's her name? Brandi Carlile's song. Is it The Joke? Oh my gosh. Well, and I sang it and was evidently making like my friends cry or something. it's a kind of a hard song to sing, and she's a very nice Gemini wordsmith, and wow. It was like an honor to sing it, but I had practiced singing it for my little like bootleg YouTubes, and then practiced, and it's this song that's so emotional, it makes you cry it when you sing it, so it's like kind of hard to sing while you're crying. So like getting a grip on the emotionality, once I had done that, I was able just to sort of belt it out, and oh, it felt good. It was just the bomb. And who knows? Who else am I helping? Like, I helped do a neighbor's laundry. Helped do probably 5 different people's laundry. I don't know, like 4. I can think of 4 off the top of my head, but like, no, it, I don't have the energy for that. Kind of running low of quarters, but I just do what I can when I can. I was trying to get clothing for the clothing drive for the homeless and got policed by the bureaucratic, like, fuddy-duddy of humanitarianism, and got a kind of a bad reaction to being walked on and disrespected, misperceived, and I think a social nonprofit culture and bureaucratic. I'm not into being walked on by controlling people, so don't want to be there for them, but I'm not really there for them to walk on. I'm there to keep an eye on them, so that might be what makes them nervous about me. Um, oh, this, I guess it was kind of a media blitz. It was at the end of March. I just suddenly, like an hour before the event, was like, I'm going to the dollar store and getting all these poster boards and giant thick markers and let people make signs. I made a bunch of Housing First signs, and I'm kind of a fence sitter. I'm listening to all sides of debates and like trying to gain information from all people and trying to maintain diplomatic relations, and letting everything go to like the nuclear option or the harshest judgment and harshest language is, I think, inconsiderate of where people's feelings are. And I felt that people were being minimized and voices were being minimized, and that there's a way to listen to everybody. I was concerned with disability rights access and equity in programs. I think sometimes it's hard to see where the equity is. But privately run charities sometimes just operate. I mean, human beings are cliquish. And after I witnessed one of the assaults I witnessed this last year, it was a very brutal one around March 18th. I just was tanked. It's like getting pretty full of the atmospheric issues. So trying to stay safe. I was working out a ton. Well, it seemed like a ton, but nothing much to show for it. Like leg weight repetitions and some arm, but I'm kind of cutting back on that too because I was getting too much joint pain, and then I was like realizing, oh no, I've got arthritis. I'm probably gonna be like my mom, and hopefully I don't get into some degenerative bone issues that are like severe. So I want to be careful with that. And what else? I put some lemon juice in my hair, and it just felt so good to strip the oil out. That was like 2 days ago, and kind of pull a little blonde back into it. Looking through some of my dad's memorabilia. Oh, he did this. Well, I'm not going to tattle on my father's 1956 teenage escapades, but he was a bit of a prankster. He'll love to tell us this. I miss him. Oh, Alice in Wonderland. I just never really heard of her until like a few weeks ago. Very good.